All right, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We're here. It's been a
Sir,
minute, 2 weeks, bro. Fluent in the house.
yeah, sorry, your boy in Jersey lost power for basically the week, so it was
Yes,
it was struggle city over here, bro.
Struggle City out in Jersey, but
Yeah,
brother Tom is back.
I'm
Welcome
back.
to church for all y'all. We're all here. We're all here.
Bless y'all.
First, how you doing? As you said with the Hurricane Isaiah,
Is that
staying
what it was
safe.
called?
I think it was Hurricane Isaiah. Well, I was watching the Joe Budden podcast.
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't know, Joe Budden's a music personality. He does a podcast about like Meg The Stallion, Tory Lanez, all that stuff, all the drama going on in hip hop. And he came out and said Hurricane Isaiah, and he said, "I knew I never respected anybody named Isaiah."
Right, it wasn't even like it was crazy because it wasn't even that like I got off of work but
Mhm.
it was just raining hard like a normal thing, and the wind was like it was fast, but it was nothing like super crazy. So I'm like, all right, whatever, that was nothing. It was just like a hard rainstorm.
Mhm.
Bro, I got to go out. There's like fucking trees everywhere, bro. Just down, wires down. I'm like,
Damn.
did I miss something? Or, bro, like you're stepping over trees and you
Right.
not walk down the sidewalk, bro. You're like, what is going on?
That's nutty. See, I barely got anything. All we got up here was just some rain. It just rained for like a few hours, and it was really windy.
Next thing you know, I got power for 3 days. I'm like,
Yeah,
this is
it's nutty.
ass.
Maybe Isaiah should get respected. Joe was wrong.
I know. But now we're back. Good to be back,
Yeah,
too.
we're back. Great to be back. What else? I mean, hey man, big news. College football is having some issues.
Bro,
College football is having some big issues, and I got some strong opinions on it. So I want to hear what you have to say first.
it's just sad, you know? All these kids, all these student athletes just want to play. And I figured that they weren't going to play. In the back of
Right.
my mind, I'm like, they're probably not going to. But you're just holding out hope for these kids, especially kids who are trying to make it to the league and
Mm-hmm.
trying to become pros in whatever sport they're in. This could take a big could hurt them.
Right.
So
So,
yeah,
yeah, for those who don't know, the Pac-12 canceled all sports until the end of the calendar year,
yep,
both fall and winter, which I thought was a little crazy. The Big Ten postponed the football season. I believe they did all fall sports though, until further notice, suspended to the spring. And other schools have canceled, other conferences have canceled, done things. But we're kind of waiting on D1 because D2 and D3 have basically said
yeah,
there's not enough money to go around. And as D3 guys, we understand that. Like, you see how the money floats. And, it's not shocking that these schools can't afford to test people. So they're kind of to the side, like they
that
have
was
their own
big for
thing.
that to happen.
Right. And it's unfortunate, especially for friends that we have, people we know, senior years getting canceled, people's junior and senior years being
Yeah,
canceled.
it's
So,
horrible.
yeah, it's horrible for them. But I do have some strong opinions on this because
Let me hear it.
I
Because
think,
I just saw the headlines and I was like,
right.
ugh, like I didn't even dive into it. I was just like, I don't even like, oh. So let me hear what you got to say.
I mean, my thing is with the NCAA. And I'm always going to have an opinion against the NCAA, regardless of what we've done and stuff, because people do have to understand D3, D2 is very different from D1. Like
Yes.
you're not gonna pay all of us. Like we're not getting like
Yeah.
that's not happening. Like we
Right.
get the luxury of playing, they afford it to us. It's a
Right.
blessing and we appreciate it. But I don't like the NCAA coming out and telling me that they care about players all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like, don't come out and tell me we're doing this for player safety. We're doing this to protect our kids. We're doing this to do this. Well, not to bring this up, but a few years ago when we had the problem with Eric LeGrand and other people getting paralyzed on the field,
Yep.
where's the NCAA for? Oh, it's football. That's football. Like they don't have any health insurance. They're not getting paid. That's got to come out of their pocket. So that's kind of crazy to me. I also don't like that there's no central leadership. The NCAA has not made a call on D1 yet. The Power Five conferences met and two opted out, but the ACC, the SEC, and the Big 12 are saying they're confident they could still play fall sports.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a person by person basis. team by team, conference by conference.
Yeah, see, I don't want to interrupt you, but it makes no sense. Like, if one team can't play because of COVID and because of the world we live in,
Right.
you would think no team could play. But if one team plays, you would think they all could play.
Exactly.
So it doesn't make any sense that some teams are like, oh no, we're gonna rock out in the fall. We're playing. Other teams are like, no, we're shutting everything down.
Right. And that's
Like the
my
NBA,
point.
as you're saying, needs somebody up top, not one person, a group of people, to be like, we're all playing because this is what we've set up.
Right.
Or we're all not playing because this, and this.
And that's fair. That's exactly what I would like too. And my big question is, I wanted to dive into the eligibility and scholarship things because I don't think a lot of people know this. And this is something that our roommate, Zach Tankum, definitely told us a lot about he told me about during quarantine and stuff with the scholarships when they postponed people, especially for baseball because they were the season that got canceled at the time. A lot of these D2 schools, like not to hand off and go back into D2, but a lot of these D2 schools still have a certain amount of scholarships and they don't have the money to pay them. So if you have someone coming in to say a new first baseman coming in, but your senior first baseman got his eligibility back, but he was just a regular guy. Like, you know what I mean? He wasn't a superstar. He was a good rotation in your batting order, good fielder, all that.
Right.
But then you got this superstar kid that you're hype about coming in, and only one of them can have that scholarship at the end of the day. So who's getting cut? Who's getting snipped? What walk-on is no longer on the team, and who's getting moved to a walk-on? Who all of a sudden can't pay for college? I think a lot of people aren't noticing that because they're saying, oh, we want to protect people. We want to protect people. That's fair. Like, I love that they're looking out, even though I don't think it's very genuine. But my thing is, you had the opt-out. Like, I think you can keep your eligibility with an opt-out. You don't have to play if you don't want to.
Right.
But if you have to play, if you're a guy that your career's on the line or you can be the next – think about last season in college football.
Right.
If this happened last year, was Joe Burrow going number one? Was Joe Burrow getting drafted?
He might be a Tom Brady type pick. You feel me?
Maybe even not.
Yeah,
he might be sitting at home. Like he really might not. That could have been his last season of football.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I feel bad for the people that aren't going to get their season that could break out like that.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people aren't realizing that. And I looked up on the NCAA website what they did. So D3 canceled fall championships due to, quote, health and safety concerns, as well as financial and logistical ramifications of it. And if I was playing, I would have been upset about that. Well, it wouldn't have affected us. But if I was playing a fall athlete, I would have been upset with this statement. In order to maximize the championship experience for both winter and fall athletes who were shortchanged last season, we must cancel fall championships. And they gave no word on eligibility extension, but I did hear that they're going to keep their eligibility. So if I was a fall athlete, I'd be pretty pissed that someone told me, well, baseball lost their playoffs last year, so you guys got to take it so we can pay for theirs this year. Like, that affects you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's D3. D2 was operational, logistical, and financial challenges. Extra eligibility will be granted, but no word on extended scholarships or continuing scholarships, and no word on eligibility if the school chooses to compete anyway, because they left that open too. So if your school goes out and competes, you could still, I don't know if you can, but there's a chance you could still lose your eligibility.
Doesn't make sense.
And then D1 hasn't put out a statement since 3/30/20, which was extending eligibility and allow scholarship extension for those who had their season cut short for spring athletes in winter.
It's a shit show.
Yeah. And my big issues, the Pac-12.
Yeah.
That I thought that was the fall season. I get if you're moving, if you really aren't confident in it, and if you really didn't care about all this information or care about your athletes in this sense, like, why did you cut into the basketball season? Because everything I'm hearing is the basketball season is going to get played and they're going to do a March Madness tournament. They might have everyone think about it. They have everyone go to a central location anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So if they do a bubble for the March Madness next year, hopefully we don't have to. But
Yeah.
that, that's just, I
And
think that's
NBA
just crazy.
NBA has proven that if you do the bubble correctly, it works.
Right. And even the NHL's been no positive tests. Both of
No,
them, no
positive.
positive tests, no issues at all.
Do it the right way, it's possible to be done. Now, it is different for college because, like, these are pros in the NHL and NBA that all this money is going towards. So,
Right.
but the NCAA makes billions of dollars off the players anyway. So,
Right.
I think they could probably afford to make a bubble.
That's the other thing. Where's this money going? Because I know people have $60 million TV contracts, and now
Yeah,
they have no money all of a sudden.
yeah.
So I don't know. I think we just got to look at the NCAA a little shaky before we start applauding them and saying this was the right decision. So,
They're always shaky.
right. Just some perspective. But
Always shaky.
yeah, so that's
But
that.
on a better note, the
Mhm.
NBA has been rolling.
Rolling.
Now,
I'm
I don't like to feel
excited.
about the NBA without fans, but I was like, damn, this is kind of going to be ass, I think. I don't think it is actually bad.
I think it started off slow because guys hadn't played in 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. I think the seeding games were questionable, as in it's worked. Like Portland's going to be in the playoffs.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute, but yeah.
Portland's going to be in the playoffs.
Right.
But like you said, we'll get to that in a minute. So with that going on, the games have been competitive. The Nets beat the Bucks somehow, some way.
I felt like I don't think I'm going to really like watching. Like, I'm going to watch, but I don't know if I'm going to like it as much, but it's kind of just like I'm watching like an OG like scrimmage, like just going hard and going at each other. I'm like, this is actually pretty good. And I got to give them credit. I was like, what are they going to do for the fans? But the virtual thing, I think, has worked out pretty well.
It has. It has.
Just like whatever, FaceTime in or Zoom in, whatever they're doing.
Right.
Putting their faces up there. I think that's still a very cool thing.
And both them and the NHL have been doing the crowd noise, which has been, I think, has been great because you hear it, but it's like they turn it on in high leverage moments. Mm-hmm. They don't just let it go the whole game. I mean, occasionally you'll get like the Heat chant because they're supposed to be the home team, so the things will flash and all that. And I guess it gives you some sort of advantage. I don't really think it gives you a dramatic one.
But still, yeah.
But like
home team deserves something.
A little confidence for some of the guys that need that boost of like I'm doing it for the fans. So I mean, I love it. I love it. Yeah. You got anyone you've loved so far? Anybody stand out?
Well, there's one. Okay, there's more than one, but the most shocking.
Oh, I know who
TJ Warren.
TJ buckets.
Bro, what has gotten into this guy? Besides the last game against the Heat, I think some mind games were involved there. He wasn't himself.
Oh yeah, him and Jimmy.
But a couple games before that, wow,
50, 40, 30. He's just that's that NC State.
That's the NC State TJ Warren.
That's that NC State TJ Warren.
Straight to a bucket. I'm like, oh my god! I saw the funniest meme, bro. Somebody like, I think it was like J.R. Smith when he's like this. He's like, is that Kawhi Leonard?
Oh yeah, and it had the thing.
He's like, oh no, that's TJ Warren. I was like, bro, that's really what it seems like.
It really does. And I mean, he's just one. He's one of those guys too. When you're watching him play, you're just looking. You're like, you shouldn't be doing this. I know you shouldn't be doing this, but he started showing out, man. And I got a new nickname for him. That's Cash Warren because he was traded for cash considerations. That is Cash Warren.
That's Cash Warren. Yes.
TJ considerations. Cash Warren, baby. That's what I like.
That. Cash Warren.
Cash Warren.
Yeah,
baby.
I mean, he's been balling. Honestly, the Pacers have needed it too.
Oh, they have. I mean, no Sabonis.
Mm-hmm. Oladipo's coming back.
He's been in the process. He hasn't been bad. He took a back seat.
Yeah, it's a slow grind for him.
See, and that made me think of, which happened today. Nate McMillan got his extension today, but it was only 1 year, and that kind of threw me off because I was sitting there going, Nate McMillan's been in Indiana for a minute now. Oladipo wasn't supposed to be nice when he was there. Sabonis wasn't supposed to be nice when he got hurt. Now they're both gone, and TJ Warren starts snapping. At what point do you look and say it's the coach?
No.
So
and it's not. He did a good job 2 years ago when he was Portland's coach. I think he was in Portland.
I think he was in Portland. Yeah,
he did a good job there. I think he wasn't coaching for a little while. Maybe he was an assistant somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely think he's one of the better head coaches in the league.
Yeah, and I think he's very underrated. I think a 1-year extension is kind of
Yeah,
very low.
I
But
agree.
I mean,
But what are you gonna do? I don't. I
right.
mean, was he on his last year?
I think this was his last year. So I'm just that I think that's my issue with it. Like
Yeah.
he didn't deserve Tom Thibodeau just signed a 5-year deal with the Knicks.
Right.
Like guys have gotten extended. Jim Boylan is coming back to
Right.
Chicago somehow, some way. If I was a Chicago fan, I'd be
Horrible.
furious.
But yeah,
But yeah, like 1 year. I mean, I thought at least 3. Hand him a bag a little bit, like
no, sure. He's
plastic
very
bag,
good coach.
bro. Give him the Walmart bag. Just like
Also, today the Eastern Conference playoffs are all set up.
all right. Yes, I did see that. Want to throw some predictions now?
Yeah,
Not
dude. Of
there.
course. So
Some off the cuff. This is not
yeah,
prepared.
this
We
is
do
not
not have
prepared. This is
this.
just off the cuff. As of 20 minutes ago, I saw locked in. So let's
Right.
go. We'll go from top to bottom. Ready?
Mhm.
You got number 1 seed Milwaukee versus number 8 Magic. What's your prediction?
Milwaukee in a sweep.
I agree. Bucks and 4.
Max in 5.
I don't think they get one, but
Yeah.
number 2 Raptors versus number 7 Nets.
Raptors in 5. I'm giving my Nets a game.
You're being a homer, but I'm Raptors in a sweep.
All right.
Number 3 Celtics versus number 6 Sixers without Ben Simmons.
And a questionable
And a questionable
Embiid.
Embiid with an ankle injury.
I want to hear yours first. I want to hear yours first.
Now this is just off my head. I haven't thought
Off your head.
thought. I think if everyone's healthy on Philly, I'm going with Philly in 6. Philly's not healthy. I'm going Boston in 5.
I like Boston in 5. I do like Boston in 5. I'll give Joel 1 game. I think Joel's going to play.
Yeah.
I'll give him 1 game just
no
because
Ben
he's Joel
Simmons.
Embiid. But
But it's
no
gonna be
Ben
limited.
Simmons. Who's going to go? Is Shake Milton really going to go off? Like,
I know.
I mean, Josh Richardson's been playing good. They're going to rely on Al
Have enough
Horford.
firepower though to deal with the Celtics.
Not yet. I think Tatum's going to wall out. Jalen's going to wall out. Kemba's going to be solid. It's just, can Daniel Tice guard Embiid? Probably not, but that's 1 game.
And then lastly, which Heat Pacers. That's the 4-5.
Heat in 6.
I like Heat in 6. I'm going to agree. Heat
I
in
think
6.
just because Indiana has a problem with Miami
I love that we get to see Jimmy versus TJ in a series.
again.
That's very cool. But the Pacers not fully being healthy. Kind of seems like that's the thing every year now, huh?
Yeah, they just don't. I don't know what it is. They need to fire their trainer.
They
Their athletic trainer has poor injury prevention skills.
So then that leads to Bucks versus the Heat in the second round, right? Yes.
Bucks Heat.
Bucks Heat.
Oh, Giannis doesn't like Miami.
I like that. Bucks in 6.
Bro, I really don't know.
That's a nice series, though. I'd love to watch that series, which I think will happen.
I don't. Giannis has a problem with Miami, though. He does not play good against Miami.
Well, Spoelstra and that staff, they know what they're doing.
Right. And I think the fact that there's no home court advantage either way is gonna be Miami in 6.
Ooh!
Again, Miami in 6. I like Miami.
In 6.
Miami in 6. They question Giannis. Will Giannis leave town? Will be the next question.
Wow, I like
Eric
it.
Bledsoe won't show up again. Chris Middleton will be okay.
Wow.
Yeah. And then what? We have Toronto.
Raptors Celtics. Another great series. Second round's going to be good.
That's going 7. I just don't know who I'm picking.
That's going 7, and I'm leaning towards it. I think if you asked me almost before the bubble, I would say the Celtics. But after the bubble, I think the Toronto Raptors.
I think Toronto too.
Dude, the way they play as a team, If one guy's not playing, next thing you know, Fred VanVleet's going for 30, and they're
Right.
beating the best team in the NBA, and you're like,
And we've
What?
reached the point where we can't question Kyle Lowry in the playoffs anymore.
can't question Kyle Lowry. That game against the Lakers, I was watching. I'm
Mhm.
like, this man looks like he's the best point guard in the NBA right now. He's making the most
Always.
ridiculous threes. I'm like,
He just comes out of nowhere because we're so used to him being a bum that it's
mhm.
just so it's just so weird when he shows up for big
Yeah.
games.
Agreed.
So Toronto, Miami.
Toronto. So for you got Toronto, Miami.
I have Toronto, Miami, and you have Toronto, Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
See, if it's Toronto, Milwaukee, I'd be taking Milwaukee.
Yeah. I'm probably taking the Bucks in 6.
I think Toronto's going to be there if that's the case, though. Because Miami's not going to have enough firepower for Toronto's defense.
Mm-hmm.
And Toronto gets to the chip again.
So you're saying the 6, they get back to the finals, huh?
I'll say Toronto wins that in 5, though.
Wow.
I think Toronto would win that in
You
5.
believe in Canada, huh?
That's the thing. It's just the route. It's the route that I had them taking because it's just I don't have faith in Giannis against Miami. If Giannis doesn't have to play Miami.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
If he doesn't have to play Miami or he does beat Miami, then I could see him beating Toronto. If Boston comes out of there, I don't put it this way. Miami's only a bad matchup for the Bucks.
Yeah.
If they get to the conference finals, I don't see them going to the chip.
Yeah.
They're kind of like the Atlanta Hawks were a few years ago when they would get to the conference chip, but they're playing LeBron. They don't have enough firepower.
I think we can agree that it doesn't really even matter who's coming out of the East because the winners come out of the West anyway.
I'm giving Toronto and Milwaukee a shot, but I think the West has the advantage.
Yeah.
I think if Houston plays Toronto somehow, I don't think we could say the West is definitely winning. Yeah. And I have faith in Houston. I think Houston has a way that they can make it there.
How about, dude, I saw this. So the Lakers secured the 1 seed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their path to the finals, if the Blazers are the 8 seed, is the most ridiculous path I've ever seen in my life.
Portland?
So you'd play Portland with Dame, CJ, Melo, and a very good team, and not an 8 seed. We can agree they're not an 8 seed.
No, they're not.
They're
only in the 8 seed because they were hurt during the actual regular season.
The second round, they're not like locked in yet, but this is just speculation. They can play the Houston Rockets. So you're facing Russ.
That's a bad matchup.
That's a horrible matchup for the Lakers. Now, of course, I think the Lakers would win, but that is tough.
That AD has to win that series. AD has to win that series.
You're crosstown rivals, the Clippers. After that, you're playing Milwaukee
or Toronto, probably.
Like, come on. That's murderer's row, bro.
That's a big one. That is a big one. If Bron does that,
I don't want to hear
big one.
Skip Bayless. Shut your mouth, bro.
That's a big one. Skip coming at Dame has been crazy. Skip and Dame has been a legitimate.
How about the beef with Dame and PJ? Or PG, sorry.
PG.
Oh, my God.
Dame was beefing with PJ Tucker? No, I'm playing.
PJ Washington? What are you talking about?
PJ Washington, bro.
PJ Dozier? What's up?
PJ Dozier. No, I think.
That beef is crazy.
See, I don't think PG really. I think that's why they squashed it because I don't think there's really any beef there.
PG ain't about that life, bro.
PG, it's not even that. Dame wasn't even going at PG really. PG just made the comment after Pat Bev was acting a fool. Yeah. So then he was like,
"I sent y'all home last
I sent them both home."
I was like, "Oh, come on!"
I was like, "You did send them both home," and then
crazy.
Yeah, but. I mean, supposedly,
I'm like, no.
Supposedly, she said something about PG's family that then Dame needed to squash because PG was like, "Yo, let's talk about this because this is getting too personal, and if you really feel this way, we might need to scrap. If you don't feel this way, then we got to work it out." So, but they said it's all good.
You seen the meme? It was like, the fuck was it? It was like Dame in the lunch.
Oh, with the Kobe one? With the Kobe one?
Yeah.
He probably would look at him like that.
I was crazy. Like David at lunchtime looking at PG and Pat Bev. He's like,
And then they'll probably look back, and then Dame will go.
You know what time it is? You know what time it is?
It's meet me at the flagpole, bro. Meet me at the Disney
No.
flagpole. It's
Oh my
Dame
god,
time.
just hilarious, just hilarious.
Yeah,
But
bro.
let's get into our predictions here for the NBA bubble MVP and
Bubble awards. The
bubble awards.
bubble
Yeah,
award.
let's
Do we
go.
want to go bubble awards first or the regular season awards that don't include the bubble?
All right, let's go. Let's go regular season and bubble.
Regular season, then bubble. All right, I have that on my phone. I got 2 different lists. All right, you gotta see.
Regular season and bubble.
So regular season.
We're going.
Let's start coach of the year. Let's start coach of the year.
All right, coach of the year. Oh, they already did that, didn't they?
No, they said I heard that wasn't real. Where they did Budenholzer and Donovan.
Billy Donovan.
I heard that wasn't true though. I heard that wasn't 100%. I heard that was just AP and that wasn't related to the NBA awards. That's why they announced that after.
Oh, I saw it on Thunder's page. I thought it was real.
Oh, if it was on Thunder's page, then it might be real.
Give me a second. I'll look it up. But I think who got it last year? Nick. Who got it last year?
I don't know who did get it last year.
Nick Nurse
I feel like it should have been Nick Nurse.
or Budenholzer got it last year. One of them.
Right.
Off the top of my head, Billy Donovan because I'm home. OKC Thunder.
That's why I thought you'd like it because I also picked Billy Donovan.
No one expect them to be there this year.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of got a bunch of guys that kind of like on paper don't really mix. It's like we got a lot of guards. Then we got some tweeners. Right. Then we got like a big center. It's like this team kind of doesn't make a lot of sense. All of a sudden they come out and they're playing like a cohesive team. And you're like, wow, these pieces are actually working very well together.
Right. Last year was Budenholzer, by the way.
Last year was Budenholzer. That's what I thought.
If he wins again this year, it'll be his third. It'll be his third, tying Greg Popovich.
Jesus.
And Pat Riley. And Don Nelson, actually.
On here, it's not saying it's official, so I guess we'll just do ours. That's fine.
Yeah, so I'm
saying Billy Donovan.
I agree with you. I said Billy Donovan, and the way
good candidates, though.
Oh, no, very good candidate. The funny thing is the only person I don't think should win it is Budenholzer.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's because I get the Bucks.
Team, dude, that's what we expected.
Right, and I get the Bucks were the first in the East and first in the league.
Mm-hmm.
But you lost Malcolm Brogdon, and you brought in Wesley Matthews and Robin Lopez. So your team's basically the same. You're very reliant on Giannis, who might have had another MVP season. Now, when I look at Nick Nurse, you're second in the East, and I had him as my runner-up because you lost Kawhi, you lost Danny Green.
Yeah, you don't think the Raptors would be like this year.
Right, and all you brought in was like Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, and you elevated guys like OG Anunoby and guys that like weren't playing, Norman Powell, guys like that.
Right.
So he deserves credit, but I think that was just a victim of people sleeping on the Raptors more than it was Nick Nurse excelling the Raptors. I think the Raptors were always more than Kawhi.
Right, I agree.
Billy Donovan, on the other hand, the Thunder are the 5th seed in the West, and everyone thought they were going to be a lottery team, and you lost Russell Westbrook and Paul George, who are two arguably top 10 players.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, a lot of credit goes to Chris Paul. I don't want to take away from Chris Paul.
Oh, yeah, Chris Paul deserves a lot of credit.
But, I mean, Chris Paul, Shai Gilgeous, and Danilo Gallinari for Russell Westbrook and Paul George is essentially what happened. What he got dealt.
Right.
And he brought them to a higher position than they were the previous year.
And a lot of people hate on Billy Donovan because he never won a chip with Russ and KD.
Oh, I do. I was not a Billy Donovan fan. You know this.
When we signed him, I was like, okay, I'm cool with it. I liked him at Florida. I'm cool with it. And the first couple of years, I'm like, listen, we're getting to the playoffs. We're getting to the conference finals. Getting to the second round. Some injuries happened to Russ and KD. Mm-hmm. But I was never like, oh, this is like, I love this guy.
Right.
But this year, I think has been his best coaching job yet.
Definitely.
I mean, also the year they lost to the Warriors in 7 when they had a 3-1 lead.
Mm-hmm.
KD and Russ just couldn't make a shot.
See, my issue was always.
But I think this year's his best job, and he should. It's hard to say. I'm not sure what his contract is. I guess he probably deserves an extension.
Fair. I mean, I never was a big fan of him just because I liked Scott Brooks. I didn't feel like.
Good too.
I didn't feel like Scott Brooks deserved to be out. I feel like that team had issues. And when you got rid of Harden, you kind of blame Scott Brooks for not being able to fix that. I mean, maybe you can blame Brooks for never starting Harden, and maybe that's his issue. But
meanwhile, the owner didn't want to go over the luxury tax by $4 million. That's why I got James Harden.
OKC things.
Yeah, small market problems.
But congrats, Billy Donovan. You're the coach of the year.
You're the coach of the year.
Brofluent coach of the year. Round of applause.
Brofluent coach of the year.
Round of applause.
Great work, Billy.
Next, I got sixth man.
All right, I'm staying home. Dennis Schroeder, baby.
Dennis Schroeder.
German. Give me him.
This was hard.
Let me just tell you real quick what my man was averaging this year.
Go for it.
Ready? Dennis Schroeder, 19-4 in 30 minutes a night. He's basically playing starter minutes. 30 minutes a night is a lot of minutes. Sharing the load with CP, Shy, and him.
3-guard system.
I loved what they did. 3-guard system. Someone on the court can always make plays. He's as an important piece on the Thunder as almost anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, maybe not as much for the future because, I mean, he's still a younger guard. He's still young, but –
yeah, he's not old.
Shy is the future. And, but this season, he's been great for us. The chemistry he has with CP and Shy is awesome. I always watch, like, looking little videos of them in, like, practice where they're always, like, just goofing off, looking like they're freaking loving playing basketball.
Right.
I'm going to give it to my man, Dennis Schroeder.
That's fair. I mean, I thought Dennis Schroeder was my runner-up. I went Lou Will because Lou Will's also averaging 19 and 5. I think it's on slightly less minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think Montrezl was going to be as much of a candidate as he was.
Yeah,
he's averaging 18 and 7.
Yeah,
with great defense. But hey, man, Lemon Pepper Lou.
Lemon
Pepper Lou's he's just different. So while Dennis did a good job, you know, I feel like it's hard to guard Chris Paul, Dennis Schroeder, Shai Gilgeous back to back.
It is.
But for the Clippers, I throw Lou Will and Trez, and it is this basic. It's not the same team, but I take out Kawhi and PG, and I'm running like offense runs through Lou at that point.
He's a bucket, no lie.
He is. So
let's go to most improved player. You got Brandon Ingram, Bam Adebayo, and Luka. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think Luka should be in this category.
Mm-hmm.
As he said, I understand his numbers are better and technically like he's improved, but I think we could all like. There's kind of a level you reach in the NBA, in my opinion, where it's like, okay, you're not even in the most improved category anymore. Like,
you're in the MVP combo. You're in the MVP combo.
You're consistently great. And what we've seen from Luka is only his second year, he's already consistently a top 10 player in the NBA.
Right.
So I don't think he could be in the conversation. You know, I didn't like Brandon Ingram that much in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I knew he could score the rock. But for my most improved, I'm going to have to say Bam Adebayo. I think he's the second best player on the Heat. If you watch some film on Bam, you'll see this big guy moves like a guard.
He does. He plays. I don't want to say he plays like Blake Griffin, but Blake Griffin shifted to big guard status.
Like that. Yeah, he's a little bit like that.
And
I've seen him
Bam made the same shift.
Drive and Euro step, and I'm like, Bam is huge. He's thick.
Yeah,
like he's this size doesn't normally do that.
He's doing more Ben Simmons stuff. I think maybe Blake Griffin's the wrong thing. He's doing more Ben Simmons stuff.
I believe his numbers is something like 18.
Oh, I have him right here. 16. 10 and a half rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, and a block. Right.
And I think I love B.I. I think he's had a great year. But I think the Heat have had more success. He's a big part of that. So I'm going to give him most improved.
All right. So I agree with you. I also picked Bam, and I did it for similar reasons, but my big thing was how was I going to determine where I laid the improvement? So originally I like you. I was like, Luka doesn't belong in this. I'd rather have Devontae Graham in it or another person that improved dramatically.
Yeah, Devontae Graham would be a good candidate, yeah.
And Luka's numbers did go up.
Yeah, and he's averaging 28, 8 or something like.
Yeah, 29, 9.5, and 9.
Ridiculous.
So it's 8 more points per game, 2 more rebounds per game, 3 more assists per game. and he's shooting better from the field, but not as good from three. So I looked at it and I was like, look, it's there, but when I look at the other two, that's the real battle.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Ingram, like you said, I wanted it to be him so
Yeah, you're a
bad.
BI fan.
And my reasoning was Bam saw a minutes increase. He plays 10 and a half more minutes. So I was thinking, if I'm talking improvement, how do I know you really improved more than you just made the most of your opportunity?
Right.
And with BI, he's playing the same minutes he played in LA, and he's averaging 5.5 more points, one more board, one more assist, half a steal more. He shot a little worse from the field, but he shot significantly better from the three and almost 20% higher from the free throw line. So I was like, all right, you clearly made shooting improvements.
Right.
But then I went back to Bam and I was like, you know what? Maybe you got those 10 and a half minutes because you significantly improved. And I can't argue with 7.5 more points, 3 more boards, 3 more assists. Like,
Right.
you were an all-star and your percentages went down, but nothing went down crazy. Like, you were never a 3-point shooter. So shooting below 20% from three isn't that crazy. You shot the same from the field and basically the same from the free throw line. So
he's going to be a problem for years. He's super young, super athletic, and just skill-wise is getting better and better.
Of course. So the second one we agree on. So Bam Adebayo, you are the most improved. Brofluent, most improved player. Congrats.
Congratulations, bud.
When you drop confetti. If I can drop confetti. So now we got what? Defensive player of the year?
Yes, sir. And, this one is always hard to say because, I'm not watching film on somebody's defensive highlights or anything, right?
Right.
But just off of the improvement I've seen from the team as a whole defensively, I'm going to say Anthony Davis. Looking at his stats, now I know I'm saying offensive stats as well, but the stats are just ridiculous. 26, how many rebounds? 9 and 3 with 1.5 steals a game and almost 2.5 blocks a game. I mean, you're doing it all.
He is.
And he holds down the middle of that defense. I think you take him out, the Lakers probably are knowing LeBron and his lackluster defense during the year. Yeah, they're not going to be much defensively. I think AD does, and AD can guard on the perimeter. Just because he's big, don't think he can. He can move his feet. If a guard switches on a pick and roll, I don't think it's a problem for the Lakers. Like, that's fine.
Yeah, and that's what basketball is going to now. You see a lot of people switching to the big on him to, hey, I'm going to shift him up, do what I got to do. If they got to help, next man's open. So,
and with the Lakers, it's not a problem because AD can guard guards. Obviously, it's still a little bit of a mismatch speed-wise or whatever, but I think you'll take AD contesting a deep three-pointer all day. So I'm going to say AD.
Hey, we agree again.
Let's
I
go.
also picked AD, and it's funny because you know me. You know I hate advanced stats. Because I think they're all fake. They're all BS. But like you said, it's hard to go on YouTube and try to look up someone's defensive highlights from a whole season because you don't know what someone determines as a defensive highlight sometimes.
Yeah.
So, like you said with AD's numbers, my thing with him was 1.5 steals, almost 2.5 blocks, and he was second in defensive win shares because first was Giannis. Well, I don't know how they rank it, but they said 5, and then AD's 4.5, so it's not a dramatic change. But Giannis only has a steal and a block per game, and then Rudy, who's in the convo, doesn't even have
every year.
Right, and he doesn't even have a steal per game, but he has 2 blocks per game, and his defensive win shares were third on the list.
Well, the stats are just proving AD. And again, I don't like saying, just go by the stats. I'm a big, you have to watch with your eyes. Stats are always the whole story. But even with this stats, it's proving that AD, along with the eyeball test, is defensive player of the year.
Right. And the other thing I looked at, too, was I looked at fouls because I think
he only averages 2.5 fouls a game.
That was the one. That's what put me over the top because
he's blocking you as much as he's fouling you.
Exactly. When you think of because who brought up that stat to me? It was one of the guys. It was either JJ or G. Shout out my boys. But G had his birthday yesterday. Shout out Gary Brown. But
Happy birthday, G.
yeah, but he pointed out a stat to me that Kawhi Leonard has more career steals than he does fouls.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's, and I was like, that's what makes him an elite defender. So I want to look at that with these guys. And the other point was what you brought up, like guarding the perimeter. Rudy can't guard the perimeter.
No, not like AD can at least.
Right.
Not even close.
So then it's Giannis or AD, and AD had the stats, and
I think it's
as well as the eye test.
I think it's pretty clear that AD is the best big man in basketball. I think
you consider Giannis a big man.
No.
Okay, in that case, yes.
Yeah. No, I don't consider him a big man. You see him on the perimeter too much. I think
True.
You consider him a big. He's a big guy that's playing a guard.
He's a stretch. He's a stretch 4, but he's also a 3.
Yeah.
So it's hard to. He's a forward.
Like AD is more of a traditional big.
Yeah, I agree. But hey, man, that's 3 out of 4 guys. Hey.
Smart minds think alike, you know what I'm saying?
Of course, bro. AD, Brofluent Defensive Player of the Year, bro.
Congrats, bro.
There we go.
For the Lakers, so people can stop talking shit about LeBron.
Exactly. Right. Now, if we don't agree on this, I don't know what's going to happen.
If we don't agree on this, I'm going to have a problem with you. So, Rookie of the Year, 3 candidates. John Morant, Zion Williamson, and the surprise of the season, Kendrick Nunn. Kendrick Nunn, you balled out. I didn't even know about you. I think he's a very good player. I like him a lot. I think it's safe to say he's not really in the conversation.
I think he's in the conversation. He deserves to be a finalist.
I think he's clearly third.
But he's clearly – I don't know if it's clearly, because how much do you value – all right, let's just say our picks because we have the same person.
My pick – all right, I want you to say it on 3. All right, with me.
All right.
1, 2, 3. John
Morant.
Okay.
Perfect.
John Morant. Congrats.
John Morant, congrats. You're Brooklyn Rookie of the Year, buddy.
This one is easy for me, too, and I know people, some Zion lovers and Pelican fans are all, look what he did. Look what the impact he had on the game. I'm not denying the impact he had on the game.
Mm-hmm.
When he was on the floor, yeah, he was a monster for a rookie. I think if he plays the whole year, that man is Rookie of the Year. I'm not going to deny that. But he played – 17 games in the regular season?
Yeah, before you count it, it's 19 games or something like that.
Before the bubble and he played, and then the Pelicans are out, whatever. He's played not over 20 games. You can't give a guy in an 82-game season that's played 20 games Rookie of the Year when the other player, whose stats are comparable, has played the whole year and has poster dunks, highlight plays, and has made the Grizzlies. And it looks like they're not going to make the playoffs. I mean, they're still in it. They still have a chance. But
they're going to have a play-in game. I mean, it's hard to beat Dame twice, but
everyone's leaning towards Portland. But he has the Grizzlies in a position to make the playoffs when people are like, Mike Conley's gone. It might be – we're a good young core, but we might need another year or 2. Right. He came in and you're like, oh, this kid's going to be a star.
Yeah.
And I think I have his numbers. He averages 18, 7, and almost 4.
Right.
About a steal a game.
You're on your shit today, man. I got all my numbers. I'm usually the numbers guy.
Come on, shooting 48% from the field. Was it and 34 from 3?
His numbers are great, man.
As a rookie, and the highlights, but the alley-oop dunks, the highlight blocks. It's just, I think it's clear he's Rookie of the Year. Get out of my face with Zion playing 15 games because he's overweight and gets hurt. Zion, but you got to drop 15.
Sit down, fatty. Come on, man.
You got to drop 15 for me. I'm a big fan. You're going to be a beast. But drop 15. John Morant is Rookie of the Year.
Right. And I agree, and I think it's for the same things. The way I treated this, though, was I treated it like our next conversation with the MVP. I treated it as, at the end of the day, I know I'm not supposed to take the bubble into account, but the Pelicans won with Zion. The Pelicans lost with Zion. The Pelicans lost without Zion. So it didn't make a difference.
Agreed.
And while he's got to play, like you said, he's got to be on the floor, man. You played 19 games. I can't, maybe if the season went on and you played and you went into the playoffs, I would have done it, but no. And with Kendrick Nunn, it's you had a great year. You weren't supposed to be in this convo, but Miami's more of a team. And unfortunately, in this case, that's going to come to your demise because that's Ja's team. Memphis is Ja's team, and there's no argument about it. And they were the 8th seed. Whether they folded or not isn't really a big deal, though, because I don't think we really question him if it's like, oh, he didn't even get there. Like,
I would say I was surprised that they started so slow in the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
But they're still a super young team.
I think losing Jaren Jackson was big.
And no Justice Winslow.
Yeah. They got hurt.
And is a very good player.
They got hurt, and they also they lost their momentum. And, like, think about it. If you're game planning for a team, you don't really know. They can beat you a bunch of different ways. They keep changing lineups. I don't know the first name of them. I think it's Taylor something. Taylor Jenkins, I think, is their coach. He did a phenomenal job, too, this year.
Great job. Dylan Brooks plays well for them.
Yeah, Dylan Brooks did a great job. He's someone that him and Eric Spoelstra are two people I feel deserve more due. Even Frank Vogel, I think they deserve more credit. And while the Coach of the Year combo is like up there because they coach the shit out of their teams. Like I think that's what people aren't looking at. Like, oh, you have the best record. Like, hey, you can have the best record and you didn't really have to coach that team.
Right.
But on the other hand, if I got a team where it's like, hey guys, we're down and out, like we ain't supposed to be here, and then I coach them all the way up and get to the playoffs, I don't care. I don't care that you were the 1 seed. We weren't even supposed to be here. You were supposed to be there. So,
agreed.
Like you said, John Morant, Rookie of the Year. Round of applause again for the bro. Don't dunk on K-Love next year like that, though. That would have been horrible. End of his career.
Lastly, the MVP, which I think we can agree, obviously has nothing to do with the playoffs. Doesn't mean you're the best player in the NBA.
Right.
But obviously it's a great award, most valuable player. And most of the time it doesn't even mean you're the most valuable player. Mm-hmm. It just means you put up the best stats and your team won some games. We've seen
and I took it as you were the most valuable player this season. You're not the most valuable player in the whole NBA. It's just this season, if I took you off this exact team, it would have affected them more than other people.
I think you know where I'm going. To the best player in the NBA, to the best basketball player of all time. Not the greatest. I didn't say the greatest. I said the best. There's a difference. To
I agree.
The best basketball player of all time, the king, LeBron James. And just to tell you why, I think LeBron this year, more than ever, not more than ever, but more in the last few seasons, we've seen him take defensive matchups more like personally. I think we saw in past years, like, all right, you get KD, we got to save me for offense. You get this guy. I think Frank Vogel said something that I want to read. And he was talking about, of course, obviously he's going to say LeBron should win MVP. He's like,
right.
But I think this means, like I said, in a weekend they played the Clippers and the Bucks. In that weekend, LeBron took the toughest assignments in both games. He guarded Kawhi and did a great job. Then guarded Giannis and did the same thing while AD was in foul trouble. I feel like what he's able to do on the defensive end, combined with what he does on the offensive end, which is, ready for this? Which is league-leading 10.3 assists per game at small forward, but we know passing's his best thing.
Right.
25.5 points per game and 8 boards. So this man's giving you 25, 10, and 8, and he's 34, while also now, obviously not doing it every time down the floor. He's not covering the best player. Not every time. He's not a young gun. But in those moments, he's now guarding Kawhi, Giannis, whoever that star is.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron James, he should have been – how many MVPs does he have?
This would be – if he gets this one, I think it would be his fourth or his fifth. It's his fourth or his fifth.
I think that we can agree, just like MJ, that LeBron should have a lot more MVPs.
I think he should have got one more with the Heat.
I think he should have at least 2 more. It's like when Jordan was playing, every year Jordan could have got the MVP, but that's not how the NBA works. Every year LeBron's been playing, he could have won the MVP, but that's not how.
I think LeBron, in that conversation, I think LeBron just fell victim to a lot of historic shit happening around him because Russell Westbrook did 3 straight triple-double seasons, and he only got 1 MVP. James Harden's a finalist again. I think this might be like his 5th straight year as a finalist.
And he's the reigning MVP. No, Giannis is the reigning MVP.
No, Giannis is reigning.
Before
James is
that
the year
part.
before that.
Yeah.
So
Who do you
James,
have? Let me.
bro, I got Giannis, and
Who you
it's
lose.
only because I didn't want to do it too.
No, his
First
stats
off,
are the best. I
I
understand.
gotta put a disclaimer out there. People that act like this is a two-man race, it is not. James Harden has a
no.
very, very valid point
He
to
always
be the
does.
MVP. I mean, 34 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, 7.5 assists, almost 2 steals a game. But he shot 44 from the field, still 35 from 3, and 80 from free throw line. So he
But
is
he has an argument. Don't get it twisted.
yeah, like I think people are discrediting him, and I think that's why he gets upset because you can't like when you try to think of the MVP, like that's someone that couldn't be stopped that season.
Yeah.
And year in and year out, no one can stop James Harden.
No, they can't.
Right. So
Is he the best scorer in the NBA?
Tim or KD.
I think KD then him. A healthy KD. But right
See,
now,
I want to say that because I love KD. I think KD is probably the top 2 play. He's definitely a top 2 player. But it's my thing with KD is like you said, we got to see him healthy. And my other thing is while he's one of the best scorers in the game and he's unstoppable, James Harden just went 3 straight years leading the league in scoring and over 30 points per game. And last year he had 36.
And I think a couple of years, went by where we didn't see guys really in the 30s. We saw KD in the league at like 30.1. I think someone else led the league. That was maybe Russ at like 31. But you didn't see guys really in the mid-30s. I
think Melo won it at like 28, 29.
Yeah. You don't see guys in the mid-30 much. And then in the past couple of years, Harden's like, oh, wait, let me just show you I can go to another level with scoring.
And I'll almost grab 40. I think that's the difference.
Yeah.
But KD can come out and do that too.
Listen, KD, if he wanted to, he could. But
you have an argument for both. I have no problem either way. But I was saying with Giannis, I picked Giannis because, like I said, with the most valuable spot, it came down to defense too. And like you said, LeBron stepped up on defense and done that. But if you take Giannis off the Bucks just this season, your team's probably what? Eric Bledsoe, Chris Middleton, Dante DiVincenzo, Brook Lopez, and let's just say Robin Lopez.
You're not very good.
It's not even that they're not very good. It's you can tell that when you talk about defense with that team, he is their defensive anchor. And while Bron's been a great defender this year, if you take him off, you still have Anthony Davis being the defensive anchor of your team.
That's right.
As well as losing a great offensive player. And I don't think the Lakers would really be who the Lakers are. I think if the Rockets lost Harden, the Rockets are not who they are. Yeah. But with Giannis, you have to totally change every aspect of that team, how they played this year. Yeah. Because he was their rim, he was their whole offense, and he was basically their whole defense.
And why I'm not really arguing this that much with you is because I think that it's a super close MVP race.
It is.
I think the Russ and Harden has been close, but I thought this year it's definitely going to Russ with his triple-doubles. Then I thought that year is definitely going to Harden. I thought last year was definitely going to Giannis. This year I was like, this is pretty close. Because I think a lot of people are like, LeBron really like – people expected it this year. Like, all right, he's probably going to go for MVP this year. And he's done that. And I think it's a super close race. So I'm not really mad if someone says Giannis. I just think at age 34 and – leading the league in assists with 25 a game.
Right.
You can't argue with the king.
And, I mean, don't get it messed up. I want Bron to win. I do, like, deep down, like, a part of me definitely wants Bron to win this. I think it's just it's a COVID stole one from him. That's how people are going to look at this in my eyes. I think Giannis is going to get it, and people are going to look at it as Bron should have 4 or 5 MVPs because that year, if that season didn't end the way it did, he was going on a tear. That Kawhi and that Giannis game happened right before the season got canceled.
Right.
And then the Nets game happened that was a little iffy when Spencer Dinwiddie hit a shot. But, like, other than that, like, who was going to stop that run Bron was about to go on? I think we were about to see him get that for Kobe, too. So
I agree.
But, hey, man, I'm a co-MVP, Brofluent co-MVP, Giannis and LeBron.
Yeah. Really can't go wrong with either one.
Right. But now we got Bubble. Bubble Awards.
Yeah. Let's
All
do
right.
our first team and second team from the bubble.
All right. You want to do second team, first team? Who you starting with?
I'm going to start with the first team.
Okay.
Now, do you want to do straight positions or just like 5?
I just did one big and the other 4 didn't matter.
Okay. So let's just go 1v1 each time.
All right, deal.
All right. Damian Lillard.
Agreed. Damian Lillard, my first guard.
Yeah.
Don't have an argument. Like,
No.
he's wild.
We saw 60 last night with the most ridiculous shot.
Right.
At shooting guard, Devin Booker.
Agreed. Devin Booker.
7-0 Suns.
Well deserving.
Buzzer beater against the Clippers, which if people don't realize how ridiculous that shot he made was, you know how hard it is to stop, pivot, turn around, fade away,
And
over
then
PG
shoot it over someone taller than you.
Do you understand that? That's not easy.
No space. That's crazy.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Next, I had James Harden.
James Harden, huh?
I had James Harden on my first team. It was close. It was between him and another guy. But James Harden's on my first team, and it's because, I mean, look what he did today. He had, 48, 17, and 9?
Did he? I didn't even see him today, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I think they lost to the Pacers, but he had, I don't think Russ didn't play, and he had almost 50. And, I mean, that's kind of becoming regular for James. So I don't know how – I mean, the other person that's there has an argument, but I put James.
All right. Luka Doncic.
That was the other person I thought had an argument.
He's been crazy.
He's been going too, but
I saw today that the Mavs have literally the historic offense. Like one of the best offenses of all time this year. I had no idea.
I had no idea either. That's news to me.
On Bleacher Report. I was like, what?
Oh, shit. I gotta look at that.
Laid out a bunch of stats. I was like, I had no idea.
Hey.
But anyway,
they're working, I guess. Who'd you have next?
T.J. Warren.
Agreed. T.J. Warren.
You got to.
T.J. Warren deserved it. And I mean, I don't even think we have to say anything for that. Like, bro's getting.
We saw the kid go for 50.
I think if he went off on Jimmy Butler, I think he would have been my MVP.
Really?
He's not, but I think he would have been my MVP if he went off on Jimmy. Because I think that would have shut Jimmy up. That would have been the thing. That would have been like, I'm here. I'm a real superstar. So that would have been big. And then my big, so my 5 in this scenario, I put Anthony Davis.
I would agree. I put Anthony Davis as well.
See, we almost had the same list again because I love what Doncic did, but I just didn't want to. I couldn't, in my soul, I couldn't put Harden on the second team.
I think Doncic is. Isn't it kind of ridiculous that this guy, right? When we see people come from Europe, we're always skeptical, right? We're always like, they're not athletic. They don't play in college basketball. We don't see them as much. But it was kind of just like, we all kind of admitted, like, okay, Doncic seems to be really good and probably should be the first pick or the second pick or the third pick, right? But no one wants, some teams might not want to do the European thing because it doesn't work out sometimes.
Right.
And since he stepped on an NBA floor,
he's been ridiculous.
He's literally been a top 15 player in the NBA.
Yeah.
And has literally said, which I don't think is true, but he said it because he's just being Luka. It's actually easier to score here than it is overseas, which is just so outrageous to say. But
well, I think now this is going to tap into something that we know. I might agree with him because for y'all that don't know, our junior year, we took a trip to Canada. And I think FIBA rules are very different. And I think that's what was a big issue, I know, for us over there, even though it was seeding games, like not really a big deal, like preseason shit. But they let a lot go. They do let a lot more go.
They do.
And I think that's just the American, like the more
just
American
the game is
way of the game. Like you want more freedom of movement when you watch the NBA. So, and I think Europe hasn't really changed their rules that much, where it's like, hey, you still got to make a move, but like, hey, you're going to take some contact going to this. And I think maybe that's where that idea of like foreign players being soft might not be true. I mean, it might be true because you got to deal with more physicality in the paint, so they end up being shooters. But who knows? Maybe Luka's right. Maybe he's wrong. I mean, I'm not going to go get an NBA bucket.
It's really just insane what we've seen from him.
Yeah, no, he's been
Have
insane.
you seen
He
a better
has.
start to a career in the history of the NBA? I don't think so.
Probably not.
I don't think so. Jordan didn't start like this.
Mm,
LeBron, they're like he's his nut.
Bron's close.
I know it's a different NBA, but the
Hmm.
threes and the scoring's up. But stats wise, you've never seen anybody in their second year go 28, 9, and 8.
The only person I might be able to think of is Shaq.
Maybe
I
Shaq
think
too.
Shaq was a star the moment he's hit
We're talking
Orlando.
Hall of Fame basketball players.
That I think that's the crazy thing. We're talking
We're
Hall of
talking
Fame basketball with
we're
him
talking top
already.
20 players of all time.
Yeah, like Will. The only guys I can think of are like Wilt, Shaq, Kareem, Bron.
And with me, his game is going to. He doesn't have a game where you look at like if I look at a guy like Zion Williamson,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, obviously he's an amazing athlete, but is his game gonna age well? When he's 32 to 35, is he the same player because he's based everything off athleticism?
No,
And I
he
think
needs a jumper. He needs to.
exactly. He need to develop a jumper, maybe more of a handle, some post moves, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you look at Luka, and you're like, he's not really dunking on people. He's not skying for
He's not
blocks.
really athletic.
He's not skying for rebounds, right?
Right.
Everything he does is skill based. Everything he does, the handle, the jump shot, the passing, just
His
the basketball.
moves are pure too. Like
To me, barring any significant, he's going to be good till he's 35 years old.
his step back is probably second to Harden.
It's second to James Harden.
Already.
He shoots over like Anthony Davis. He's just like, hey, you're 6'10"?
It's seriously
Over your
ridiculous.
head.
So
it's pretty nuts. But anyway,
it is pretty nuts.
But
yeah, well, since we said that, he's the first person on my all bubble second team.
And then mine will be James Harden. Obviously.
Fair.
Next after that, Michael Porter Jr.
Ooh, I forgot
24,
about
9,
him.
and 1.5. You forgot about him, huh?
Oh shit! I wrote guys like. I mean, I could say guys that didn't make mine. De'Aaron Fox, I thought deserved some credit.
He did. He had a couple.
Tyler Hero, I thought deserved some credit.
Averaged
he went
like 20.
off.
He had a very nice thing.
Fred had a few good games. Jokic did okay. I didn't put Jokic on mine. Gary Trent didn't make mine. He was good too. But I went Paul George.
Okay. Second team.
Yeah, I went Paul George, but damn, I forgot about MPJ.
MPJ, man, that's first of all, if we talk about him for just a minute, I think I'm not trying to gas him and go crazy. I think he has a chance to be the best player in the NBA in 5 years.
That's a big statement.
I think he does. I really think
that's a big statement.
6'10", we've seen the jumper is smooth. Finishes at the rim with a handle at 6'10".
Mm-hmm.
I think Giannis, as you're moving your way out, you're gonna have people like MPJ start to go in that top 10.
See, I don't know about the best player.
Yeah, the best player might be a little bit gas.
I'm
just saying he's got that kind of potential.
He has all-star potential. Like multi-time all-star potential.
He's gonna be a perennial all-star.
I think.
Let's be real. We all think he should be starting for the Nuggets. I think so. Obviously, they have a weird team. They have veterans, Paul Millsap. It's like
Will Barton.
Yeah, it's not like it's like not your team yet. So like, we're gonna have you here,
Mm-hmm.
right? Maybe you don't fit in perfectly with the starting lineup or something. But Jokic is our best player.
Jamal Murray probably too, though.
Jamal Murray's probably too.
Jamal Murray's been getting busy.
MPJ is right after.
He might have leapfrogged Gary Harris. I'll give you that. He might have leapfrogged Gary Harris.
MPJ is our third best player. Anyway.
Damn, you see, now you made this list hard, though, because I thought I had a team I was confident in. And now I know I can't move the next two guys, but I know I should.
All right, so who is it?
I have Kawhi next, because Kawhi averaged 29. Even though he hasn't been, maybe it is Michael Porter.
Mm-hmm. Let it settle in. Just do it.
I'm gonna go Michael Porter. I am gonna go Michael Porter because while Kawhi's
not on my list.
Kawhi's done great, and it took me looking at the numbers to go, Kawhi's averaging 29 in 5 games and blah blah blah. But his main thing was the Nets game where he went off, and he only went off because the Nets weren't really the Nets came out hot.
Yeah.
And he had to respond or they were going to get blown out the gym. And then his Lakers game was good. And then Book hit a shot over him too. Yeah, it's got to be MPJ. I'm changing my pick. Call me a flake, but I forgot about
That's fine, bro.
MPJ, and MPJ is now behind.
All right,
So
so
it's Luca,
third,
PG, MPJ.
Karis LeVert for your Brooklyn Nets.
Karis didn't make my list. Yeah, I've seen him do so.
23, 6 and 4.5, leading the bubble Nets to what? What's the record?
I think they're either 3 and 4. No, they might have won more games.
I think they're 5-2.
Yeah, it was either. Is it 4 and 3 or 5 and 2? Yeah, it might be 5 and
5-2.
I feel like they haven't won. Like I just know the team, so I feel like they haven't won.
Right.
But they beat the Clippers. They beat the Bucks. Yeah,
I'm giving it LeVert because he's been leading that. And we saw when he was out, when KD and Kyrie are out, he's their go-to scorer. And he's led them the wins in the bubble. Okay, maybe Spencer did Woody too, but
no, him and Spencer. Yeah, no, it's even. See, my issue with Karis is Karis has led us, but Joe Harris has been snapping. Like Joe Harris has been like, bro, I didn't know he had moves. I really thought he was just a straight, like Duncan Robinson, like straight green light. Every time I watched him with Spencer Dinwiddie and Karis, he never really had that, like, he never really had a bag. Now I'm like, oh, he's hitting step back. So he's going to the rim. And I'm like, why is Joe Harris is really wilding right now. Like, what is going on? So not to take away from Karis, but I felt like it was a dual effort with him and Joe and Jarrett. So, but I respect it.
All right, so who you got? This is fourth, I think.
Fucked up my list. The MPJ shit fucked up my list because now I feel like I'm missing people. But I'm gonna say Giannis because I feel like he belongs. He belongs here. That headbutt was a big deal. But,
bro, the headbutt is hilarious.
I mean, Mo deserved it, being Mo Wagner, but he got suspended one game. Not important. He's not missing a playoff game.
No.
But
yeah, I got Giannis too. Did I put him on first team? I don't think so, right?
No, you didn't put him on first team. You put AD. You got Giannis. So Giannis is you went. Oh wait, you didn't put PG.
Yeah, I didn't put PG.
All right. So you got.
I think I got one more, right?
Yes, you have one more.
And I know he didn't start off the hottest in the bubble.
I want to see who you say here.
Because he got a stupid haircut with Jason Tatum.
Oh, Jason Tatum. I thought you were about to say Kyle Kuzma.
No, don't hate on Kuzma, bro. He's got the swag. People hate on Kuzma. The buzzer beater was tough.
It was tough. But, it was a great play.
Jason, the play.
It was a great play. Because no one's going to, yeah.
Everyone thought the ball was getting it on like a handoff or something, and then it comes around to Kuzma. It's beautiful.
Well, not even that. No one's thinking Kuzma's getting the last shot on that team at any point.
Anyway, Jason Tatum's my final spot. 22.5 points, 6 boards, about 4 assists. He did Jason Tatum things. Yeah, he struggled in the beginning, but then he got to a bucket. Celtics were 5-2.
See, I think you forgot someone.
And let me just say this. Shooting 45% from 3 in the bubble. That's ridiculous.
That is kind of crazy.
Go ahead.
I think you forgot someone. Someone that a lot of people forget. A former New York Knick. Kristaps Porzingis has been losing his mind.
Now, I saw he went off a couple games, but you have his stats?
I don't have his stats. I don't have his bubble stats. But I gave it a Kristaps straight off the eye test because I know he had 2 to 3 30-point games. And he was shooting that shit. Like, he was –
I saw him going off the dribble with someone. I was like –
The only thing that bothered me was one of the games – it was Houston. When they played Houston, he wasn't going to the rim. And I get it, he was making his shots and he was shooting over people. But if I have a 7'2" big and I'm Rick Carlisle, I'm looking at Kristaps and going, can you go dunk everything real quick? Like, go practice. Like, this is your opportunity to go practice going to the rim. But if it's working, it's working. But – I think Kristaps deserved the team. Other guys, Gary Trent and Carmelo Anthony, I wanted to put there so bad.
I agree. And I like Gary Trent too. He's good.
Yeah, he's been
a young player.
I'm mad he was a disappointment at Duke because he has not been disappointed in the NBA so far through the bubble. So
hey, some guys are just built for the NBA more than college.
True. That's definitely a fact. You remember a lot of people like that.
All right. Well, those are our bubble awards.
Congrats. And then final MVP. We didn't do MVP. Who's your bubble MVP?
Oh, Who did I? Oh, I put my MVP in my first team.
I did too.
Okay, just making sure. Devin Booker.
Same. All right,
Yeah,
we're good.
7-0.
Brofluent MVP.
Devin Booker.
Devin Booker. See, a lot of people were telling me Dame, but I shot it down
No.
just because.
A record.
Yeah, the record.
A
The
record.
Suns weren't supposed to go 7-0. If Memphis shits the bed,
hey, you
the
know
Suns.
the Lakers are sitting there saying, "Come on, Phoenix.
Oh
Please
yeah.
beat us in the first round."
I mean, do you really want to play D Book though?
That's a disaster.
Yeah.
That's a disaster. That is the cleanest sweep of all time.
I don't know.
I don't care if Booker goes for 70. That's the cleanest sweep of all time.
DeAndre Ayton's been playing all right.
Devin a great young player.
He's been playing all right. D Book.
Not yet.
I don't know if you want to play an 8-0. They'd have to be 8-0. So I don't know if you want to play an 8-0 team.
In the bubble, I don't give a
That's fair. All right.
We got one more switch up.
Oh, the fight.
Fights this weekend.
Fights. Take it away. My knowledge isn't up on the fights this week.
Yeah, welcome to my world, real quick. Everybody, listen up. This weekend, UFC 252. We got Daniel Cormier versus Stipe Miocic 3.
Cormier.
For people that don't know, if you're not UFC fans, I've said in the past that I'm probably the biggest UFC fan you're going to meet. It's a rising sport. Watch it, and you'll get into it. Eric, my man right there, is getting into it. He's learning more and more. One day he'll be able to speak with me so we can have a good conversation, but just not yet.
Hey. Who got all the fights right on Fight Island? Who went undefeated at Fight Island? While the what's his name? Volkanovski decision was in question, and we never really talked about it.
Yeah.
3-0, man. I mean, maybe you taught me. Hey, sometimes the protege's got to come at the master, bro.
You're right. But anyway, all right. Now I'm gonna go through them real quick. Give y'all my predictions. Don't bet on what I'm saying. MMA is very hard to bet on. It's not easy, especially anyone can get knocked out any second. That's the way the sport is. You get hit with one clean shot. That's the way it is. So we'll start at the bottom. I'm not doing prelims. F that.
Mm-hmm.
You got a guy named Jim Miller versus, I don't know how to say his name, Vink Pichel, but Jim Miller it's not a big fight really, but Jim Miller is tied for the most wins in UFC history with Donald Cerrone. So it's kind of cool. Jim Miller's been around for a long time. Never been a title contender, but just been a guy that floats in the middle, wins some, loses some. But he's a dope dude, just fights for a living, always down to fight every couple months, you know what I mean? He's won 35 UFC fights. Think about that.
Oh, damn.
35.
Yeah, that's
insane.
That much. That's a lifestyle. That's a lifestyle at that point. You want to fight.
We got to give him credit. Most wins UFC history is something to be proud of. If he goes out and gets a dub. After that, you got. Now I'm gonna butcher these names because these guys are from crazy countries, so I don't want to see anything in comments. People comment about how I can't say names. All right. You got Magomed Ankalaev. Okay.
All right. That sounds accurate. Sounds accurate.
Versus, I'm going to say his last name because I don't know his first name. Kutelaba. All right?
Kutelaba.
Now, if you watch this first fight, super weird fight, right? So, Magomed comes out, and he hits Kutelaba with some good punches, and Kutelaba kind of starts acting like he's hurt, right? He starts wobbling and stumbling, but in his mind, he's really saying he's not hurt. This is what he's saying.
Right.
But they're both standing up, but he's wobbling like crazy, and he gets hit a couple more times. And the ref comes in while they're both standing and stops the fight. While they're both standing, which is frowned upon unless you're completely done. But so Kutelaba loses his mind and is like, no, I was trying to bait him in. I wasn't really hurt. I was trying to bait him in and then get him. So the other guy was just like, listen, if you want to act like that, we'll run it back real quick and I'll beat you again. So that has some little beef to it.
Oh, I gotta watch this replay.
So
I'm watching that fight replay tonight.
Yeah, that's interesting. Also Kutelaba dude during the fighter announcements in the ring. He walked across the ring and literally walked over and bumped the dude, and then the refs had to separate. The Kutelaba dude's insane. He's a maniac.
Clearly.
Oh yeah, let me get my predictions. I'm gonna say Jim Miller wins, And I'm going to say Kutalaba wins by knockout. Next, you got John Dotson versus Davalashi or some shit like that. I don't know nothing about the other dude.
Sounds like Dotson's winning.
John Dotson's been around for a long time. He's got a horrible haircut now. I'm going to say John Dotson just gets it done. And then now the 3 fights everybody cares about is Junior Dos Santos versus Rosenstruck. If you didn't see Rosenstruck's last fight, it was against Francis Ngannou when Francis knocked him out in like 15, 20 seconds. And Rosenstruck was on a streak before that. Now, people always say when you get knocked out, you should take your time coming back.
Right.
Because even though your body feels good after a little while, that brain takes time to heal. You got shut off, bro. You need that brain.
You did get shut off.
I know we can't see it, so people don't think it's a big deal.
You powered down real quick, bro.
But
you got
your brain shut down, right?
You got to reboot. There's an update coming.
Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see if he comes back the same as he did in the past, and he fights a legend in JDS who used to be the champ. But JDS is old now. I'm gonna pick JDS. I think Rosenstruck's coming back too fast after being knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, I know you've got to heard of this guy, Seek. If you haven't yet, I'm gonna lose my mind. Sean O'Malley.
Sean O'Malley.
The dude who won the Contender Series where Snoop Dogg's freaking out on the mic.
I think I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
He's the Sugar Show. He's literally
the Sugar Show. Oh,
shit. Nickname is tough. He's the next superstar in the UFC, like a Conor McGregor, like a John Jones, like a DC. He's that guy next in line. He's a super light. I think he fights at 135. He's a skinny guy, but the way he fights, man, his stand-up, his striking, he's honestly – he's a top 5 fighter standing up in the UFC. His striking's insane. He's knocked everybody out besides one dude that he faced. And the only reason he lost because his leg was broken and he fought a whole round with a broken leg and won the fight.
The Sugar Show sounds like it's the real deal.
The Sugar Show is the real deal. And if you don't follow him on social media, you have to. He's hilarious, bro. He's literally hilarious.
I'm with it.
He just dyed his hair. So the dude he's fighting is Marlon Vera. Marlon Vera's a very good fighter. Lost his last fight in a very close decision. But so O'Malley's got crazy hair. This girl does his hair. He literally dyed his hair the Ecuadorian flag because that's where Vera's from. So he's coming in with
bold.
He's that kind of guy. I'm going to pick Sean O'Malley by knockout in the first round, if not the first.
First round.
He's that good, man. He's that good. Please, tonight, if you're not doing nothing, watch Sean O'Malley highlights.
I'm tapped in the Sean O'Malley and the crazy dude you was talking about with the starts with the K. The
Kutalaba.
Yeah, Kutalaba.
And then finally, the main event.
Daniel Cormier, my guy.
Stipe 3. DC won the first fight by knockout. Stipe won the second fight by knockout. Now, it's not going to be the most bought pay-per-view, but it might be the most important fight in the heavyweight division history of the UFC. Stipe, while it's not consensus, because nothing in sports is no one ever knows who the best player of all time is, right? Nobody ever knows. Stipe has a case to be the best heavyweight of all time. He's beaten he's beaten everybody. He's beaten Francis Ngannou, JDS. I think the only person he hasn't beat was Cain Velasquez. He's beaten DC. He might have beat Cain. I don't even know. I think he might have. But anyway, him and DC is a great fight. And it's DC's last fight, for people don't know. He's officially done after this one. He said in the past he's thought about it. This one he said, I'm officially done. He's trying to go out on top. And I'm hyped for it. DC's legend.
Hey, I'm with Cormier fights.
Cormier fight. And Cormier is great because he's known as a wrestler, right? He was an Olympic wrestler, Olympic-level wrestler. Came to the UFC, was just ragdolling dudes. Heavyweight, light heavyweights, throwing dudes around, ground and pound. And now he's kind of fell in love with striking a little bit. He knocks out Stipe one time. This happens a lot in the UFC where guys who are wrestlers, all of a sudden they knock someone out and they start thinking, oh, I got hands now.
Right.
I don't need to go to the pound. I don't need to wrestle no more because wrestling is super exhausting.
Yeah.
Yes. So in a fight, it's easier for fighters to say, you know what, I'm just going to stand up. If I can win this fight standing up without really getting rid of all this energy trying to wrestle and get myself tired if I don't finish the fight, I'm going to be done.
Right.
So if I can just striking, that's how I'm going to do it. So people fall in love with that. And DC literally, in my opinion, is probably the best wrestler ever in the UFC. and he hasn't taken Stipe. He took Stipe down in these fights, but he hasn't done it consistently. He hasn't went after. He says, "I'm just going to stand and bang because I think I'm better than you." And he found out in the second fight that Stipe doesn't go away. Stipe will take your punches, and he's going to walk forward. And for people who don't know DC, he's got a big belly. He's not the fittest guy you've ever seen. He's
not
a heavyweight.
At all. Not at all. He's a true heavyweight. True heavyweight.
Stipe went to the body and dropped him, finished him with headshots, but it was the body that put him away. So he says that he's made corrections and that Stipe's not going to be able to get him to the body. Now he sees openings that he's going to take against Stipe. But then he also told, which is a little bit of mind games, Stipe, bring your wrestling shoes because that's all we're going to be doing. That's
exactly what I was thinking when you said that.
And I believe that's what he needs to do. Stipe's a good wrestler. Obviously, he's one of the best heavyweights of all time. But he's not DC level. If DC wrestles and doesn't gas out, and it makes it a grappling match with Stipe, I think DC will most likely win by either like a rear naked choke or some ground and pound in the 4th or 5th round. But if he stands up, it's a 50-50 fight. And I'd lean towards Stipe, honestly, if they're standing up because of the body shots. But my prediction is going to be DC. I think he finishes it in the 5th. I'm going to say – I'll say knockout in the 5th. It might go to decision. I'm going to say knockout in the 5th DC, and hopefully DC rides off into the sunset. Because he deserves it, man. He's one of the best UFC fighters of all time.
Until John Jones call him out again.
Okay, yeah. That's okay. That's the one thing, all right? I'm a big John Jones fan. I used to hate DC. But now, dude, you can't hate him. He's so good.
Right.
He's a double champ. Only guy he couldn't beat was John Jones. He's beaten every other – he's 22-2. Only other guy he lost to was Stipe. He's one of the GOATs, and I think he gets it done.
Right.
And gets his heavyweight belt back, but then he retires and gives it up. And we see Francis Ngannou come in and fight whoever and take that belt because it's his time now. As he's the UFC's Mike Tyson now. But those are my predictions.
Hey.
If you want to bet, go ahead. But I wouldn't recommend it on this card at least because it's tough. If you are taking one, Sean O'Malley by knockout. That's what I'm going to say.
Bet. All right. But, anyway, hey, bro, that was great predictions. And the only thing I got to say is we're making some moves soon. Yep. Big moves are being made with us right here, Brofluent. Stay tuned. Guests coming on soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
And we're going to be
guests. Yeah, we're going to try to be posting more. We want to do like 2 a week, but I lost power last week. You can't blame me for that. Nothing I can do about that. I got no power. What you want me to do? Of course. Finishing this week strong. Coming back even with stuff next week on Monday, right? Of course. And hey, stay tuned. Might be on other things because a certain someone's been ducking me. We could bring it up. As I said in the last episode, I went on a radio show with I'll say our guy, John Littell. John Littell is back. Awesome dude, great. Has a new radio show in New Jersey and 4 to 6 time, which is prime time. People driving home. But last 2 weeks, he's had some cool guys on with the Yankees and Mets, like some authors who've written books about him. But next Wednesday, he's looking to have me and Seek on. Of course, making the trip finally. We're going to debate, talk some shit, but have fun with it, and it should be cool. Of course. Well, he's ducking me on some hockey talk, but we're gonna be we're gonna be there. We're gonna be there. We're gonna have to debate hockey. I'm just gonna sit there I'm like maybe I can get a coffee or something. Yeah, I'll come back. I'm like, y'all can get hockey. I'll be back. Hey man, well, appreciate everyone for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, the usual, and stay tuned. Like I said, moves being made. Your boys, Audi. Peace.